Welcome to today's session where we'll be talking about how to install two very valuable online citation tools, Zotero and Mendeley. If you are watching this recording, I'd like to pause for a minute and clarify about how we're going to be organizing and presenting this content. So this video is going to be divided into 6 different parts. In parts 1 through 3, we will discuss what is Zotero, how to use it, and some of the advanced features, with each video being a different part. So obviously video 1 will be how to use, etc. Videos 4, 5, and 6 will deal with Mendeley. So we'll go through a similar format. We'll talk about what Mendeley is, we'll talk about how to use it, and we'll talk about some of its advanced features. And each of those will be a separate video. So, to help you as a student get the best use of your time, feel free to select the appropriate video that delivers you the content that you want. So with that, let's get started. As you can see right here on my screen, I am at the home page for Zotero. Zotero, pronounced Zotero, is a free, easy-to-use tool to help collect, organize, cite, and share your research. It will make a lot of your struggles with citing scholarly resources go much smoother and much faster. So there are a couple different ways of installing Zotero, and you may sort of run into some issues along the way. So let's get started. So when you first come to Zotero's main page, you'll see this download now. You're going to click on this. Zotero, as we see here, is available for Mac, Windows, and Linux operating systems. When I click on Zotero download now, I'm redirected to this page. So as we can see here, Zotero for Firefox, Zotero standalone. So what Zotero will attempt to do is it will attempt to recognize the browser that you're using and correctly install it, because Zotero does its job by interacting with your web browser. To get a little bit under the hood for the moment, Zotero does an excellent job capturing online metadata. If we think about sort of this at a stripped down level, right, the resources we're trying to cite, books, have things like authors, titles, dates of publication, etc. These are all forms of metadata. That is, they are information about the book. So when librarians build sort of citations for these items in our collections, we include all of the relevant metadata. And what Zotero does is it goes after that metadata for you and grabs it. So what you're going to do at this stage is you're going to have to choose between Zotero for browser or Zotero as standalone. So each of these present sort of different advantages. Zotero for the browser is it interacts directly with your browser. So if you're working remotely, Zotero is a great tool because you can operate it from a library computer, from your friend's computer, and you can store things all to your files. On your home computer, though, I'd recommend using Zotero standalone feature. It operates as a separate browser. It comes up in this little icon here as Zotero for Windows, and it's quite a useful tool. So the last thing, you're going to click on these links, and it should automatically run you through the process, and you're just going to follow the instructions as Zotero lays them out. Once it's finished, you're going to restart the browser, and ideally it will work just fine. But if you run into any problems, we're going to go through a little bit of troubleshooting information. So this is an excellent webpage, zotero.org support/installation, that goes through some of the relevant problems people have experienced when they're trying to download Zotero. So when we look at how do I install, you can see it's just the information we've covered before. There's also upgrade features, but you're not really going to need to use those for now. But here are some problems people have experienced. So if you're using Firefox, by default, Zotero will automatically try and update. If it isn't happening, there's issues here. Updates not detected, where you'll need to go through this procedure, but it's relatively straightforward. If Zotero's icon doesn't show up after you install, I found there's 2 sort of ways in which you can go about fixing this. Zotero requires you to restart your browser. So if you haven't done that, close absolutely out of everything you've sort of opened and then try reopening it again, and sometimes it'll come right up. If that doesn't work, the next thing you're going to do is restart your computer. We've found in past experience with myself and the librarians here at CW Linwood that this sometimes solves issues too. Last but not least, if it still doesn't solve the problem, we want to click on the No Toolbar icon and explore some of the other relevant issues. It also might be in extensions. So if Zotero is listed in add-ons, extensions, but doesn't show up in the tools menu, you're going to need to go through sort of this process here, where you're going to need to go into Firefox and directly add it as an extension. And finally, if that doesn't work, just attempt to install it once again, and it should come up without difficulty. So the last step is you've successfully completed the process when two things happen, at least in Firefox. So if we go over here and scroll to our right, we see a little Z icon. This indicates that the program is, if we click it and something like this comes up at the bottom, we know that the program has successfully been integrated with our browser and you're all set to start. Likewise, if you go to, for example, your library database and you see a little icon right here, then you know it's successfully installed to the browser because it's allowing you to save files to your collections, which is where we're going to start the next video. So this concludes video 1, and in the next video, we will be talking about how to use Zotero.